Alright, hey everybody, we're gonna just go over real quick how we did our web-based mapping application. The data that we're working with has some service issues, so this will be kind of a workaround, but you'll get the idea. So the first thing we're going to start with is our blank web map, and from here we're just going to load in all the data that we need. And I have my 6 tabs up here that we're going to just pull the data in, copy the URL, paste that in there. Hopefully it'll work. Okay, let's just see here. Yeah, again, this. Okay. So that's in there. Just kind of working with it here. Okay. I don't know why the data has been certainly one of the greatest headaches of this project. It all seemed there, and then it's really rather irritating. Anyway, we're just slowly loading the data in here. It's fine. 6 layers in total. Copy. And due to there being an issue with the HTTP/HTTPS URL connection, I'm doing this in my regular account and not my enterprise account. So once I have all my data loaded in here, I'll just save it, and then I'll bounce back into my enterprise. I've already created the app, and I'll kind of just do a rundown of what I did to make it. I don't know, for whatever reason, the data is not it's not allowing me to connect with the server. And, yeah, this has been a recurring issue. I'd say most of this project has been trying to navigate issues with getting access to the data, but it's fine. It's certainly been a good experience for learning what to and what to not do with your data. Oh, that's... Hold up. So we want... I guess it doesn't matter. We want this one. Whatever. So we'll add that. Okay. We'll just get rid of this one. This one's just the coastal. We want all of the strategies. So get rid of that. Okay, cool. So now that I have all my data in here, I'm going to save it. Again, this isn't very functional, just showing you what I'd be doing. So we'll save the map as Oregon video demo. Add a few tags. Oregon, Q, oil spills, video demo map. Save it. Okay, so again, recall that I'm not in my enterprise account, which is what you need in order to make a web map that's customizable, or web app, I should say. So I'm going to switch my accounts. Go to my supplemental, sign in, and I'll go to my content, and in my content I already have a copy of my Oregon oil spill map created. So we'll just click on this one and show you what it looks like. So all right, cool. So this is what it'll look like when all the data is in here. As you can see, these are the 6 layers that I manually added, and these are the layers that we'll be playing with today. So the whole purpose of this project is to use the data that I added, and in the event of an oil spill, you want to be able to interact with that data and have people pull that data out and populate a 232 response form. So we're going to use some of the widgets to allow us to do that. So I've already constructed the widgets, but I'll just go over what I did for each one. So this is just our layout, pretty standard. Change it if you want. I like my widgets up here, I think it looks better. So we'll go to our widgets, jumble them, etc., etc. Straightforward. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna have is gonna be this is our about widget, and this is kind of nice for this project in particular because there's a couple of steps, and this is going to be a widget that'll pop up right when a user opens this web app, and it'll have some basic instructions of how to use the analysis tool and how to actually populate this 232 form that we've created. So this will pop up right when someone opens this web app, because I have this little circle filled in. Okay, so that's number 1. We'll put this one at the end. The bread and butter of this project is going to be our incident analysis app, and this is really where we're going to be able to interact with the data, have it populate an Excel sheet that we can then put into a document that's customizable and we can manipulate. So you could call this oil analysis. We'll just leave it as incident analysis for now, and we'll call this incident oil spill because that's what these will be. It'll be in Oregon, and down here is where you can add. This will add the layers that will be analyzed when you actually draw on the map. And as you can see, there's a bazillion layers in this web app because the data was constructed in such a way that it's extremely hefty and it's not very user friendly. So when you do yours, you can make the data better. And I'll just pick I'll pick 3 layers for a demonstration, just so you can see how it works. We'll do Turca, and I'll call this Turca. You'll see why this is useful. It'll just pop up. We'll change the analysis type to proximity, and proximity will just pull any of these layers that land within the region of my buffer area, and it'll pull those features and grab their attributes. In here you can add fields. You can add up to 3, and you'll see that this has the attributes for each one of those individual layers. You can either select 3 unique attributes, or you can leave it blank, and if it pulls from that specific layer any points, it'll populate your CSV with all the attributes, all of these instead of just 3. I want all of them, so I'm going to leave it blank. Let's see, we'll do libraries. Same idea. I'm going to leave it proximity, and I'm not going to try to isolate anything. And we'll do one with, let's do some wildlife. How about some fish? Say red band trout. Again, we'll change it to proximity. Red band. we go, red band trout. Okay, and down here is where you can set your customization for your buffer. We'll call this buffer label will be oil spill area. Minimum buffer distance, 0 is fine for us. You can make the maximum as big as you want. 100 is fine for this case here. You can also turn the weather on. That might be more useful for something like forest fires. I suppose oil could be useful too, but we'll not worry about that for the moment. Okay, so that's our basic incident analysis app. We'll click OK. The next feature that I really like is going to be our select tool. So, as the name suggests, this one just will allow us to interact with the data within the web app. So we'll have all the layers turned on, and this will all right. So as I was saying, we're in the select app, and this one will just allow us to interact with all the data in our map. So allow all the layers to be selectable. We want to be able to export things if we so desire, and we'll say partially within for this, and we'll hit OK. The last one that is useful to go over is our edit app, and this one is one that you can't do much with unless you have full access to your data, which we don't. So this is a really cool one if you want to be able to add points to your map or do some sort of editing on your points or features. For instance, if there's an oil spill, you could put a point down, name whatever that spill is, and then continue to update it as it is combated or continues to grow. Again, we don't have access to our data, so this is more of just a useful tool for someone who would be a little bit have more access to their data. One other one I'll just mention is this analysis app. Again, this one has a whole slew of things you can do with your data. However, we can't really utilize this one because we don't have enterprise. Because we don't have enterprise administrative clearance. So this is another widget that I would absolutely put in to really be able to do some great analysis on the data. But again, you need more than just a basic account like I have. So I'll get rid of that one. Okay, so those are the widgets. I'll leave the edit one in there. I think it's fine for now. So we got our theme, our map, our widgets. Over here we got our layer list. I have them all turned off. You can certainly turn them on to see what's going on. And legend, obviously, just close that. Okay, so last thing is you can name it. So do Oregon spill, an oil spill map with web app builder for JS, and of course you can continue to customize this stuff. This is the little branding. Let's do a customized thing for the image. That sounds fun. And we'll use the Department of Oregon quality. Cool, look at that. Alright, so this is all looking quite good. I'm going to save it. And once it's saved, I'm going to launch it. You can either launch from the bottom, or you can go to your content and open it as a web app and manipulate it. Oh, one other cool thing is these little previews. They show you what everything will look like in terms of your layout on various devices. So say everyone in your department is using, I don't know, whatever, the HTC 10, you can reformat things in order to make it more user-friendly for your clientele. We'll leave that be for now. Okay, so we're going to launch it so we can actually do a demo of pulling the data. Right, my About widget pops up showing me exactly how to use this web app. Kind of nifty. I already know how to use it, so I'm going to close it. And as you can see, all of the data is here. It's populated. I'm going to go ahead and turn a few things off though, because it'll get bogged down. So I'm going to turn this off. I do want my libraries on, because that's something that we'll grab when we do our analysis. Same with wildlife. We're going to turn a lot of this off. I'm going to leave red band trout on, however, because that's one I selected for my analysis. Okay, and then, let's see, we can turn these off. The water resources we can turn off. And as you can see, it does get pretty convoluted here with this data. It's, yeah, it's a lot going on. And, oh, we want Turca. We want our Turca on. I will close the rest of these. So, and as I was showing you in that incident analysis app, you have to select each layer individually when you have your data set up like this. This is, I guess, a prime example of exactly what to not do when you're building out your database. But that's fine. It's not our data. So we just get to be along for the ride. Okay, so got all of this action. It's looking pretty good. Let's see. Whoa. Okay, I just turned off all those things. Hopefully they'll load at some point. So hopefully they're going to load. That would be very cool. In the meantime, we're going to... okay. Cool. So those are the data points that I've got on here, and we're going to run a incident analysis tool, and this is what it looks like. So we have our point, line, and polygon that we can draw on here, and the idea will start drawing. So say you have an oil spill that starts, it starts in one of these rivers, and it's disregard the fact that this is probably never how an oil spill would flow, but it doesn't have to be super accurate. Okay, so that's our oil spill. That's our zone. It flowed, and then everywhere within, let's just say, a 26-mile buffer wants to be notified about this. So hopefully, when I click on libraries, it'll isolate all the libraries that would be within that buffer. And it does down here. So I'm going to download this CSV. I'm going to open it. And there you go. You got your name, your county number. Again, this is your distance from the incident. Kind of cool. So I'll just save this in a spot where I can find it. And that'll be in here. We'll call it libraries. Just easy access for later. Close it. Okay. So that's our library. So I'm interested in the red band trout. Wow, there's a lot of red band trout. Okay, great. So we'll download that one too. And we'll open it. And as you can see, there's quite a bit more attributes for those red band trout. A whole slew of information. A lot of it I don't even understand, but that's okay because it's not for me. So again, we'll save. Again, I'll wind my way through my folders. Aha, we'll just save it on top of that. Yeah, that's fine. And then I have one more. It's Turka. Let's see what that pulls up. The way these Turka divisions are set out, sometimes you get a lot, sometimes you don't get that many. So we'll download this. See what it looks like. Okay. So definitely a little different, but we'll save that one as well. We'll call this Turka. All right, great. So that is kind of how you use the incident analysis tool. You can obviously do a point, and again you can set your buffer distance. Same idea, it'll grab anything that falls within this region, libraries, etc. And as I was saying, I only put 3 layers on that it'll grab. Back when you customize your map, you can make it so it'll be all the layers, and you can again go back in and change which attributes it'll pull. And you can certainly do a polygon. Yeah, you get the idea. It's pretty straightforward and easy to use. It's quite nice. The one other one that I like is the select tool here. So say you have a group of points somewhere and you're curious about what's going on with those, and you really just want to select. Let's see. So it pulled up a lot of big things because of those Turka zones, but over here it'll show you which features were selected from each layer. So Turka, there was five in that layer. Libraries in that little square, there were 5 as well. And what you can do is you can view the attribute table, you can export it to a CSV. Let's just look at the attribute table. So those are the 5 libraries that landed in that zone. It's kind of cool. It's a little red band trout. What's going on here? Yeah, so kind of a nice little, very basic and easy to use widget. Again, you can do some cool stuff with this. We'll close that out. Clear our selection. We'll close it. We'll close this. And the last one is the edit feature. So when you have full access to your data, you can, for instance, have a blank layer, and you can add points into that layer and, for instance, name it oil spill or oil spill zone or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that's the basic web app we made. And again, as you can see, you can turn on all your layers. You can leave them all off. It's all in there. It's all the data they want. You get the idea. Okay, so that's the basic rundown. The second part of this is utilizing that data we grabbed and converted into a CSV and using that to populate a 232 response form. So I'll minimize this and I'm going to open a 232 form. So let's see. And a 232 form is blank one. Well, let's just close these two things. Go to my email real quick. Grab this 232. And so the 232 is just the response form that you can fill out to notify the right people in the event of an oil spill or some sort of disaster. So yeah, pretty straightforward, and I'll show you guys how to populate this form. Okay, so it's in a Word document. Everyone knows how to utilize Word. We're gonna double click this area. It can be a little choppy, as Microsoft does tend to be that way. When you double click this area here, your Excel sheet will pop up and it'll ask you if you want to enable. You do want to enable. It'll probably pop up one more time. Enable it. And all we've done is we're embedding an Excel spreadsheet into our Microsoft document. It's nothing too fancy, but it really does work, so it's quite cool. So, okay, so we have it embedded in here. And what we want to do now is we want to populate this with that data that we pulled using that widget. So we'll go to the data part here, and there's a couple of ways you can get the data. We're going to go from a text or CSV. I'm going to navigate to my Oregon spill folder, and here are all here's all those pieces of data that I snagged. So let's grab the red band trout. We'll import that. Populate, and we'll load it in here. And this has all that data. And as you might recall in that widget, you can select 3 attributes, or you can have it utilize all the attributes, which, depending on what you're looking for, it might be useful to just have the 3. So the whole idea of this is that you want to be able to kind of rearrange your data. So each one of these little arrow drop downs will allow you to customize how your data is organized. So you can do small to larges, you can create your own filters. It's pretty user friendly. Down as you scroll, there's some pieces that a user can input on their own, and this just makes it even more customizable. Pretty neat. Okay. So that's the basics. Let's say we want to add one more chunk of data though. Maybe those Turkish stakeholders. We're curious about that. We'll load these in here. All right, great. So now we have that other chunk of data that we were working with. And again, you can scroll through and play with it. Pretty straightforward. Bottom. Yeah. Okay, so one thing that I really like about this is that if you scroll down, you'll see that this has the sheets at the bottom, and this has multiple data layers and sets. So I got a couple blank ones, but then I've also got my Turka. Let's see, I got two Turkas. I got my red band, the trout, and I've got a couple blank ones that I can add things to if I want. So I like it in that you can really manipulate multiple sets of data, which I think is pretty helpful. So let's just see here. Okay, there's another sheet. So yeah, again, it's pretty cool, and you can go in here and as a user you can really manipulate the data and move it around however you see fit. So say you're satisfied with this, you can save as. Go to Documents. Test form. Right, so that, in a nutshell, is how to use the web app to populate this interactive 232 form.